Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. If you've not yet subscribed to our channel, please take a moment to do that now. All right, so we are continuing our exploration of Ray Bradbury's 2001 fix-up novel From the Dust Returned. We are up to chapter number 4, The Sleeper and Her Dreams. In the last chapter, we learned from the mummy grandmother in the attic about the high attic, the attic above her attic. And she references then the sleeper and her dreams, which is, of course, the name of this chapter. The house that we were introduced to a couple of chapters ago, the mysterious house, long set empty. There were some broken windows up in the attic, and through that, dust blew in and sort of was blown about in certain patterns, like a Japanese sand garden, is the way Bradbury describes it. The wind would then carry in news from around the world if anyone was there to hear it, and soon came Cecy. She arrived, second inhabitant of the house after the cat Anuba, and Cecy had a talent for, in her sleep, hearing what went on around the world and sort of occupying the space inside somebody's head and be able to look out through their eyes. The family came to regard her as sort of a goddess of wisdom because of the information she was able to glean from far-flung places. So they let her sleep long, undisturbed hours while she would travel in her mind. And they knew that in the morning she would come down to the breakfast table and share the gossip, as young girls are known to do. As the chapter ends, Cecy is eager to get back up in the attic and go to sleep because she has the feeling that she wants to be in love. It's a 2-page story, very much another bridge device, as was The High Attic, which I reviewed earlier today. The High Attic and The Sleeper and Her Dreams probably should have been one combined chapter, but I can see why Bradbury probably separated the two. One introduces the attic, the other the occupant. And the attic itself is a bit of a character, like the house itself, having this sort of propensity for mysteriously bringing in let's call them transmissions from around the world. Together they set up the April Witch, or the Wandering Witch, which is a story that Bradbury wrote way back in the late 40s. I previously reviewed it here on Let's Talk Ray Bradbury, so you can look for that here in the playlist. You know, on one hand, Bradbury, as he often does, writes very poetically about this subject. It makes it sound like Cecy has this higher calling, like she's sort of like an oracle. However, I love the dichotomy with the fact that it's really about her being a gossiping girl who suddenly realizes that she wants to be in love because she's reached that point in her life. So it's very much the high and the low combined in one place, but it's the way Bradbury's known to lovingly talk about sort of simple things and make them feel a lot more important. And I think that's very useful in American culture, where I think we have a bit of an inferiority complex because we're told that, you know, we're a young nation and, you know, all these places that our ancestors came from have these long, seemingly very important histories and these legacies and these cultures, but, you know, there's an importance in our own culture, and I think that he does a wonderful job of showing that throughout all of his works. Maybe less so here, but more so in the works that are more realistic, but even here, it's grounded in the real, I think. All right then, so next time I'll be skipping The Wandering Witch, which is also entitled The April Witch, because again, I've already reviewed that here. You can look that up again in the playlist. I may discuss it briefly just as a refresher before we move on to the next story. I will admit that The April Witch is probably the first real story in the collection, so I'm sorry to skip it, but I don't want to repeat it here as another video. I'm going to reread it though. Anyhow, next time we'll be looking at Whence Timothy. So it looks like we're finally going to get an explanation of the origins of Timothy, who was the first character we met in From the Dust Returned. So thank you once again for following along. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, and until next time, keep it creepy.